Hello everyone, welcome back to Consciousness Rising. We're now at episode 10, and as I've said before, these videos are cumulative knowledge that I've gone into over the years, and I'm breaking it down into short videos in the hope that it may empower and enlighten others. These videos are my offerings. I don't want nothing for them. I don't care for fame, I don't care for money. I care about every being on this planet, and I care about the consciousness being risen, which is why my channel is called Consciousness Rising. And we're still on mind control today, and today we're going to be looking into religion, the one and only problem really on the planet. And when I think of religion, I don't just think of the organised religions like Christianity and so forth. I think of other things, but I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video, as you'll see. But to start the video off, as I've done before, I like to look at the root of words and where they come from. Okay, so the word religion comes from the Latin word religare, which means to tie back, to hold back, and to bind fast. So therefore, all religion is a binding. And what that means is, it's a basic way to trap your consciousness, to stop you evolving, to put you into a box of thinking that's given to you, dogmatic beliefs. It's nothing to do with truth, and my channel is all about truth and healing and solutions. That's why I delve into EFT. We are programmed, many children, and I feel for them, because I know how the subconscious works. And if you want to know about that, go back to episode 2. But children that are born into religious families, this, that and the other, their subconscious is developing, and they're being indoctrinated by their parents who follow the same crappy religion that has no basis in truth. And it's just there to bind, as in that picture there. Such a powerful picture. You're going to be chained. As soon as you subscribe to a religion, you are chained. Your consciousness is boxed. So that's what religion's for, people. It's to bind you, to hold you back, and to stop you moving forward. And as I've written there, which I'm going to look at and I'm going to show you today, organised religion actually stems from astrotheology. Once you understand that, you really do understand the actual where it comes from and the way it's been played on humanity. Okay, so what does binding mean? Binding is a magical term descriptive of a class of spells intended to thwart or hold back the progress of an opposing force or practitioner. You, the people, whoever, the occult, basically, I'm going to go on to talk about the occult. It's a body of knowledge, that's all it is. And people that have a lot of knowledge, can do massive damage to people that don't have knowledge. And that's basically what's happening on the planet, really. That's it. In a nutshell, people who have a lot of knowledge, a lot of hidden knowledge, and have done their best to obfuscate it and keep it hidden, are in control, and they use it against the masses. And, I went into that on my Divide and Conquer, but today I'm going to break down religion more. So there you have it, that's what binding means. This is my slide, what it's really about. Mind control through fear of the unknown. I was thinking about this quite deeply recently with all the crap that's going on in the world right now. One thing we have to do as a species, we have to get rid of the fear of death. There is no death. There's death of your physical body, but your consciousness is eternal, and I'm going to go on to talk about that in later videos, but one step at a time. And I said that the rabbit hole would get deeper as these videos go. But again it's giving away our personal power and responsibility to unchallenged dogma. It's about going within, people. It's about finding yourself, because you are a microcosm of the macrocosm. You are a point of awareness of the universe, and once you come to the understanding of that, all this mind control crap it doesn't stick, because you see it for what it is. It's a lie. Okay, being subservient to a religious leader, and these popes and bishops and cardinals and God knows what else, you will never ever ever see me pray to the feet of one of these individuals. Who gives them the right to think they are God on earth? It's absolute crap, and people fall for it all the time. It's the same with politics. It's exactly the same with politics. looking outside of ourselves for a saviour. And if you go back to my video before, you know, the one I did on Divide and Conquer, I spoke about that. I call it the saviour mentality. So many people and so many so-called awake people fall into it. You know, looking to Donald Trump to save them, the Palladians, the aliens. Oh, it's ridiculous. And there at the bottom, all religions are cults. Yes, they are. They are cults. And once you subscribe to a cult, you are indoctrinated and you are held back. Okay, so where does it really come from? What's astrotheology then? I spoke about it earlier. It all stems from three basic desert sky god religions of old. It comes from the ancient world. It goes way, 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 way back. It's not nothing new. It's just been twisted. So you used to have three cults, and on the left there, ancient astrotheology cult, the solar cult, which was represented by the celestial object of the sun. Its modern word variant is Christianity, and its symbol today is the cross. And we'll go on to talk about that today, because I'm going to break that down, what that really means. And then you had the lunar cult, which is the moon. And its variant today is Islam. Look at that symbol. There's the moon on it. The stellar cult, the third cult, sometimes called the cult of lesser lights. The stars and the planets. Its primary body is Saturn, but it also deals with the stars, the many little lights. And its modern day variant is Judaism. And there's its symbol. These are really, really ancient things that have just been twisted and given a new narrative to enslave people. That's all it is. It's once you see it for what it is, it's so simple to understand. There's two bits you need to understand when looking at astrotheology. This is one of them, and how our seasons are created. And it's the seasons and something called the procession of the equinoxes, which I'll explain in the next slide. But I might need to use the mouse pointer here. So basically, if you look here, seasons are created because of the tilt of the Earth in relation to the plane that it orbits the sun, so where it is in conjunction to the sun. It has nothing to do with the distance from the sun. That's not how seasons are created. It's to do with, you know, it's the plane that it's orbiting. And if you look here at the autumn equinox, the sun is at its 0 point, which means that it's bang on the equator line. If you look there, as it moves into to autumn, or winter I should say, because that's autumn there, sorry. As it moves to winter, the sun then strikes the southern hemisphere, and the sun there is at 23.5 degrees south. It then goes back into the spring equinox, and then it hits the equator again on the flip side, you see. So it's at a 0 point again here, as it was above here. And then it moves on, and then it hits, at summer, it hits the northern hemisphere. So it's the opposite, 23.5 degrees north. That's it. That's one thing you have to understand. It's like a sine wave. It goes up, down, basically. The next one, the procession of the equinox, okay? So it's all to do with the constellation that we're pointing to in the background. And obviously there's so many constellations. And they're in relation to the solar ecliptic path, and they slowly go backwards, you know, with this turn, slowly, it's called the procession of the equinoxes, slowly goes backwards through a long time counterclockwise until it's made a complete revolution through the whole zodiac. That's what the procession of the equinoxes is, basically. And it takes approximately 25,000 years. Not exactly, but approximately 25,000 years at the spring equinox, okay? So then it's made a full rotation. The Earth is not wobbling on its axis, and I'm not going to go into that today. Okay, so bear with me. So astrophilology really is all about the sun's movement through the seasons. And what we've got here, basically, is the ancients would draw this cross in relation to the sun. Okay, so you've got the spring there, with Aries, Taurus and Gemini. Then you hit the summer solstice, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. You've got the summer, you're in the summer. Then you get the autumn equinox. You go down through autumn to the winter solstice. And now you've got winter. So the whole year is laid out like this. It's got a cross in the middle. You've got your three months, or signs I should say, making up each season. That's how it works, and I'm going to talk you through this now, okay? So when the sun starts, let's start here at the spring equinox. This is the rising of the sun. He rises up here, the sun, and that's why Taurus is here as well. And it's the bull, it's the raging bull. So the sun is gaining momentum as he gets to his most northerly part, or highest point, I should say, at the summer solstice. Okay, that's as high as the sun goes. He then comes down here, and at its hottest point, he's in Leo. Okay, that's the hottest point the sun gets. Interesting that it's Leo as well, symbolic. It's a roaring lion. It's got a mane. It's hot. It's, you know, it's roaring. That's the hottest point. And then he comes down here. Now, this is where things get interesting, and this is where Christianity comes in. So, that constellation in the middle there is called Crux, or the Southern Cross. Yeah? Think about religion. Think about Christianity and the importance of a cross. It starts in the house of Virgo, which is also was known as the Virgin. Okay, you get a virgin birth. This is where it comes from. Connect the dots, people. Underneath Virgo, is a constellation called Crux. Okay, it's only visible from the southern hemisphere. And the sun was said to be, at this point, above Crux, or above the cross. It's not on the cross at this point, it's above the cross. Okay? The sun at the autumn equinox is now beginning to die, quote unquote die, and go towards the lowest point, which is the winter solstice. So he's going to make his travel, just like I explained how he went round there. The sun is now going to go underneath here, right? And interesting things happen here, because here we go, right? So the Southern Cross, the cross, Jesus, cross, and all that, it all links up to astrotheology. The winter solstice, where the sun is there, look, I'll get my mouse just to show you. This is as far south as the sun goes. The sun is now said, the sun, or Son of God, yeah, make the connection, was said to have died upon the cross, Crux. It's nothing to do with crosses, it's to do with astrology. So, and also interesting from here, from autumn to winter, when he passes down there, the sun passes 3 signs, right? Which is also symbolic because Jesus is said to have hung on the cross for 3 hours. 3 hours, 3 signs. Okay, so this all matches up, and as you'll see, okay. When it gets south, the ancients noticed that for 3 days the sun was actually stationary. It didn't appear to move at all. Okay, which is really interesting, because of the story of Jesus and being dead for 3 days. And then what happens magically on the 25th of December, which is why we celebrate Christmas, the sun starts to move again. The sun, as in, you know, the physical sun in our sky, and also the Son of God. It's even in the word. Okay? Then he starts to move again. So he's born on the 25th of December. Can you see how it all matches up? But people don't understand this. They haven't took the time to really look into this stuff. But you understand so much more. Interestingly as well, when he starts to move at the 25th of December, where's my mouse pointer? Here. If you count back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 signs or months, whatever you call it, you get the Virgin, Virgo. You know, that's really interesting, isn't it? 9 months or 9 signs, and you get Virgo, or the Virgin, which is 9 months is the gestation period for human beings. You know, it's all here. It's all here. Now, when I found out about this, I just thought it was so amazing, and I was fascinated. I think it was in a video. I can't remember the name of it now. You have to forgive me. If I remember, I'll put it underneath. But yeah, when this was all laid out for me, I thought it was fascinating. It's not just Christianity, by the way. This goes back to Egyptian myths even. They're all the same. They've just been replaced by different figures. Okay. The sun then is reborn again on Easter Sunday. Now, isn't that interesting? You know, it's all astro. This is where we get it from. It's all a myth. It's all astrotheology. Okay. At the spring equinox, the The winter to spring equinox is 3 days, which is the rebirth of the sun. Like I said, Jesus, that connection. He was dead for 3 days. He risen. Re-emergence from the tomb. The sun re-emerges from the tomb. And then over it there, it says Easter Sunday. If you break that down, East Star Sun Day. It's in the words. And, it's always celebrated the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. That's when we always have Easter Sunday. It's always the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. And I hope this has sort of blown your mind a bit, because it did mine when I first started learning about it. I thought it was fascinating. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci, he knew his stuff, because look at the symbolism here. Okay, this is a very famous painting. So you remember in my first video I spoke about yin and yang. If you look at this room, you've got the dark side and you've got the light side, just like the yin and yang. The duality is there. Also, he's got 12 disciples. Okay, isn't that interesting? You've got the sun and the 12 constellations. Okay, also, if you look at the way they're grouped into threes, which is the seasons. Okay, and it gets lighter and lighter. This is summer. It's all there depicted there. Now, Jesus is also, what he represents as well is higher consciousness, symbolically, which is the merging of the two. You remember I spoke about brain balance, and feet on earth, head in heaven, boots on the ground spirituality. He is the combination. He sits in the middle there with the most light coming in, because he's in balance. He's in balance of those two sides. Absolutely fantastic symbology. Whether you believe in the man or not, that doesn't matter. What I'm talking about here is symbolism. I'm talking about, the duality, the dark, the light, the yin yang, all the stuff I spoke about in episode 1. To become a true enlightened being, a sun, if you like the sun, you've got to combine the two. If you look at the brain, Mark Pastio pointed this out, and I thought this was really interesting. So imagine this is the back of a human head. Okay, now this is amazing how it plays out in the world. Okay, so the Amun-Ra Horus sun cult, okay, because that's where it comes from. So they, we got Ra there, and you've also got the blade. Remember I spoke about the blade. It's phallic, it's male. Male domination comes from the left side of the brain. Female side of the brain is more passive, and there's the womb. I explained that in episode 1, didn't I, about symbolism, that we'd be going more into it. Okay, so the Amun-Ra Horus sun cult, which is now Christianity, that's why they say Amen after praying as well. Look at the connection there. It's so interesting. It's in the Western Hemisphere religion, and it's yang energy. Go back to episode 1. I explained all that. Then you've got the Isis moon cult on the right. Isis, Egypt. We're going way back now. We're not just going into the modern day religion. We're going back. The Isis moon religion cult. It's Islam predominant religion in the Eastern Hemisphere. It's right-brained, and it's yin energy. The word Islam actually means surrender. So that is much more passive. Okay, and that's your right side of your brain. This blew my mind when I saw this. And then in the middle there, you've got the stars and planets, which would have been Osiris. He's god of all the stars and ruler of Saturn. In some ancient religions, he was known as, the god was known as El, male and female. So he's got both parts, okay? Watch what happens when you put this together. Israel. It's all ancient stuff, this. It really is. And, this blew my mind. It's all based on ancient astrotheology. So if you get Isis plus Ra plus El, you get Israel. And that is why Israel wields so much power. It's also said to be where the ancient knowledge was residing in the ancient world, and where it sprung out from. So it's a very important place in that context. But, I hope this has blown your mind like it did with me. Okay, I spoke at the beginning, didn't I? Other religions, okay? The New Age movement. I've got a massive problem with a lot of the New Age movement, because it's massively right-brain dominant, and they just want to meditate their way to a new world. Well, I'm sorry, that's never going to get it done. You need action. You need both sides of the brain. Okay, so politics, scientism. What I mean by scientism is, I don't mean science. I'm all for science. I love science, but there's a lot of misinformation in science, and you get people, I hear people all the time, oh, it must be right. Scientists said so. He's on the telly. He was on the mainstream media. Well, I have to laugh because it's ridiculous. A lot of the mainstream media science isn't real science. It's just they're just paid bloody liars to push out an agenda for the mainstream media and the people behind them. So I'm all for science, but if you get too scientist, you won't. That's left brain, isn't it? You've got no faith. And the reason I've put that one in red, because that is the biggest religion of all people. Money, because it overarches all of them. People will do anything for money, and as I said, they're all boxes and trappings of consciousness, and we need to get out of those traps because we're much more than that. And that's my last slide. Look, brilliant quote by Alan Watts. I encourage you to look into him. He's done some fantastic work. You are the universe experience in itself. And with that, I'm going to leave you with that to think about. Take care, guys. See you in the next one.